Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Will and Wise, the Dog Show Drive.
Canadian edition.
I'm Will Alexander,
And I'm Y.
just because. And
Just
this week on the
because.
Dog Show Drive, we're going to talk about around the rings, what grinds our gears. We're going to also touch on last week's question of the week, which was dealing with the heat and showing your dogs. And looking into this week's question of the week is looking for a solution, not a problem. We don't. So
Yeah.
you'll see. You'll see it when you get to it. And things invented by Canadians. All that
And more.
on this week's edition of Will and Wise, the Dog Show Drive.
Canadian edition.
Hi, Y, how's it going?
It's going well, Will. How are you?
I'm good. We're back. We're back.
We're back.
We're back. But things are a bit
Welcome
different.
back.
But
Welcome back.
welcome
Welcome
back.
back.
Welcome back.
Yeah. So how
Um,
you survived surgery? Everything's good?
yeah, and I'm getting
Fit as
stronger
a
each
fiddle?
day. It's incredible how much improvement is each day.
That's
Like the
good.
first couple days at home, I thought this isn't going to work. I can't get out of bed. I can't even stand up properly. And then each day it just got better and better and better. And like, yeah, now I could probably do cartwheels. So, well,
Really?
no, I could never do cartwheels.
Well, Liam would have to spot you, that's all.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you this story? Because I had a heart attack in 2004. You knew that.
I
But
remember that.
yeah, but they give you a list of things you can do after a certain amount of time. And I
Right?
was in my doctor's office going through the list with him after about a week or so. And I said, I have a problem with number three. He said, why? What's number three? He said, it's been 3 days and I still can't play the piano. Because it said you could play the piano after 3 days. I'm like, it's not working, doc.
Oh, there's a flaw in the treatment. I am not Liberace.
He didn't even laugh, though. Didn't
Oh,
even laugh. So,
well, that's disappointing. I think that's more
it was
sad than the
disappointing. I
piano.
laughed.
I would have laughed.
So what did you do? Did you do anything last week?
Well, I'm at camp
I know you're at
for
camp.
camp, the cabin. So what did I do last week? I was still at camp. So
Yeah.
we went
Yeah.
fishing, bought Fanny
Or
a
you
life
sent me a
jacket.
picture of your big win.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
big
we
fish.
should
It,
have put
it was a
that on.
bass.
We should have put that on there because that was a big fish.
Yeah. Well,
You
maybe
could
I'll
send
send it
that
to
to
Doc.
Doc and he'll put it on there so the whole
Maybe
world can see your fish.
I think it's on Facebook if anyone cares. So that's what you know what that's what I'll do. I'll put it on our Facebook page. Me and my
Oh,
big
okay.
fish.
All right.
It was
All right.
I believe it was a largemouth bass, but we don't keep bass now at this time of year because the water's gets
Because
too
they get
warm.
worms. You told me that.
Yeah, they get wormy, so we don't
And like,
keep
how
them.
do you know these things? Does it
I
just
don't know.
happen
It's a
through
northern
osmosis
thing.
up there?
So yeah, so I've just been out at camp. I've been working because I got the Starlink. So
Well, excellent.
that's what I
Well,
have.
we'll
Yeah.
talk about
So
Starlink. That's all right. It's all right.
well, what can you do? Staying
Yeah,
all
no, no,
out here.
that's okay. I
Uh,
didn't do anything last weekend.
didn't you go to the
Liam's
dog show one day? No?
no,
Oh, okay. Oh, guess not.
I've been home.
You said you were getting better. All right. You
Um,
satellited in. You satellited in.
yeah, like Sheldon on the computer flat screen. I don't know.
Exactly.
Liam, my son, has been here looking after me. He's been here since I got home. He's been fabulous.
Yep.
And we've just been working around the house. Okay, well, he's been working around the house, and I've just been pointing at things. So, but yeah, it's been great. It's been great.
Life normal as usual then.
This thing on check, check, check.
I tell you I day drink at camp.
You're not allowed to day drink during the podcast. No
That
drinking and
was
driving.
that was good one. That was just juice. It's just juice.
Okay.
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 Yeah, so great. So you're getting stuff done around the house and
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's been great spending time with him, and he's been looking after like making dinner and doing all those things. He's great. He's great at it.
wow.
So yeah.
Does he want to come visit Auntie Y?
When you get sick, I'll set him up there. No, touch
All
wood. Don't say
right.
that.
Yeah. What kind of sick? So
Anyway,
so
let's
yes, we
carry on.
should
What do we
get
got? Oh,
on.
we got a shout out. Oh, before we
Yeah,
do
good.
that, I just got this news yesterday, and I'm going to explain how I
Mm,
got it because it's really strange. It was my cousin Michael's birthday.
mhm.
And so I sent him a message saying, Happy birthday, Mike, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget about our trip to Africa. That's a different story. But anyway, um, he said, Thanks, Will. Do you know of a Gord Garrett? I, s- I said, Yes, of course I know Gordon Garrett. I said, But better yet, how do you know of Gordon Garrett? So as it turned out, my cousin Michael played hockey with Gord's son Garth.
Oh,
And he
how
got the
cool.
news. Gord passed away this week.
Oh,
He just had his 95th birthday, June 30th.
oh wow. I didn't realize he
Yeah,
was
so
that
Gordon
old.
Garrett passed away this week, and
Aw.
I haven't seen it on Facebook anywhere. Um, but he was an interesting guy, Gord. He really
He
was. Like,
was. He
yeah,
was.
when he retired from judging, he moved up north. He moved up to Elliott Lake, I think, and then Sault Ste. Marie. I forget
Oh,
where he
that's a
ended up.
beautiful area.
Yeah,
Elliott,
and he wrote a couple
beautiful area.
books up there. He wrote some political book, the first one. The second one was Affairs of a Dog Man.
Ooh.
And it was really quite spicy. But yeah, he was I followed him for a while, and we chatted, and he's an interesting interesting cat, that Gordon Garrett. He really was.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Aw.
yeah. So
Condolences to his family. Yeah.
yeah,
He was a nice
but
man.
95. Whoa, like he was
Nice.
long. Yeah.
You think we'll get that old?
Well, I don't know.
I
Is it
don't know.
95? No, wait a second. 85, 85.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm
Okay.
wrong. I'm wrong. Because he was born in 1930. That's 70, 80. No, that's not 95. That's 95, right?
I'm now getting the calculator out because
Well,
I
no,
think it's 90.
1930. That's so 70 years to 2000, and more another 25 is 95. So he was 95.
Yep, 95.
Yeah.
This just in. Yes, 95.
They're the one. No, just kidding. But yeah,
So,
that's sad news.
ah, yeah.
He was a staple at our dog shows for a long time, German Shepherd
Hmm.
fame. And he did a
Yeah.
lot for the German Shepherd as in literature and whatnot and historical things.
Oh, really?
He was quite the character. He really was. He's really interesting to sit and talk to, you know.
Mm,
I used to see him when I go on the Northern Circuit back in the old Northern Circuit,
yeah.
Sault Ste. Marie and Elliott Lake and all that. And he'd sit and talk because he wasn't judging anymore, and he would just go there with I'm not sure it was his wife or just his girlfriend at that point, but he'd show up with somebody and they'd spend the day of the dog show, and we'd just sit and talk. Well, half the time he spent his time in my dressing room just chatting away. You know,
Oh,
he was a great
really?
guy. Yeah, he was a great
Ah,
guy.
he was a good guy. So,
So
all
sad
right.
news. Yeah,
Yes. But we got some other well, we will lift you up during the show here. It's not just all
yeah.
about that.
Sorry.
We've got a shout out. Remember our friends out in Alberta there? They're having their super match. It's not this weekend, but next weekend. So any of you planning on attending, make sure you get your entries in and all of that. Lots to see and do there. So it'll be a really good time. And our other shout out is to Mel Primo and Stefan La
Cross
Liberté.
country folk.
Their cross country trek, they waved from the road to me
Yeah,
as they've gone.
Steph just wrote a post, and he was stopped somewhere. I forget where he said he
I
was
think they're
stopped.
are they in Banff? I just
I don't
saw. I
know,
think
but
they're in Banff now.
some tourist lost their GPS didn't work and they didn't have a map. So Steph gave them his map and pointed to where they had to go and whatnot. And yeah, so it was
Wow,
interesting.
well,
Yeah,
that's fun. Yeah, no, they're headed out to the junior nationals, are they not? Is that what they're going
I
out
think
for? I
so.
think
Yeah.
that's what. Yeah, I think so. So anyhow, but to drive across this country, if you haven't done it, I actually do
Oh,
highly
it's
recommend
beautiful.
it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So it's amazing what our country has to offer. I know it takes forever, but
It
it's a good
does.
trip. it's a good trip regardless.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sorry the 4 hours between Thunder Bay and Dryden are a time warp. I'm sorry about that.
You
It's
lose your
something.
cell signal there. Yeah,
Oh, you well,
yeah,
and your mind. Trust me,
yeah. Oh, and no
and
offense to
possibly your life.
no offense against Saskatchewan, but I always
Oh,
it got me so sleepy when I got to the Saskatchewan border going into Alberta. I was like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, I can see Alberta, but I can't get there.
just almost touch it. Yeah, that's it. But it's a fascinating landscape for sure. That's what we have here. So we're
Yeah,
quite fortunate in this country. We don't often know
for
that, but
sure.
we are. We are. So I guess we should get going with our drive. So across
On with the
Canada,
show. This is it. All
it,
right.
driven by Show Scene Magazine, Show Scene, where every dog takes center stage. So last weekend, while you were on your it's not recognizance. What is it? What is that word I'm looking for?
Off the bomb now.
It's your convalescence. During your convalescence. That's the word I was looking for. Dear Jesus. My father was an English teacher. He'd really on. I'm sorry, Dad. Anyway, Vernon and District Kennel Club, way out there in BC on July 3rd to the 6th in Armstrong, 4 shows. Their total entries up from the previous year. They had 860 dogs across the weekend. Previously, they only had 807. So good job.
Good.
They went up.
Good.
They
Yeah.
went up. And then a popular show here in the Midwest or the West is Portage Kennel Club. And they had 4 shows and they were down. They
They
were
were
down a
really
lot.
down. I wonder why. I wonder,
Yeah.
did they
I
drop a
don't,
show?
I want to say they maybe dropped a show.
Yeah.
When we keep talking about when we have these differences, we should maybe take a look at this stuff first. But anyway, they were at 524 dogs. In the previous year, they were at 734. And then your neck of the woods, we'll go through a bunch of shows here. Bob Cajun, July 2nd to the 3rd as well, in Norwood, Ontario, 2 shows. They were down. They had a total of 205, and in 2024, they had 240. Kawartha, they were up this year. They had 362 dogs again, across 3 shows. But actually, in 2024, they only had 2 shows and they had 264. So I'm going to say that's probably,
The same. Yeah.
yeah, probably the same. They
Close.
might have been, yeah,
Maybe down a
exactly.
bit.
Yeah. And then Sarnia had 6 shows and they had a total of 731 dogs and they were up from last year at 604. So good job
I
on
remember when
Sarnia.
Sarnia was 700 dogs one day.
1 show a
Yeah.
day. Exactly. Yes. I remember doing that was the kickoff to the Summer
Oh, and they were,
Slam.
oh, yeah. When you went message to us, Sarnia, it was a great start. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then Chateauguay Valley Kennel Club in Saint Antoine Abbey, Quebec. Um, they were down just a little bit. They had 549 dogs. In the previous year, they had 578. And then Charlotte County Kennel Club in Dufferin Parish, New Brunswick. They had 6 shows and they were up. They had 430 dogs across 6 shows. In the previous year, they had only 374. So good job.
That's good
They were
work. Good
up.
work down there. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Across Canada, presented to you by Show Scene Magazine, where every dog takes center stage. And now we have our upcoming shows. And I think I've gone through these to not announce closings at a
Oh,
faster
have you?
time.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. So, upcoming shows brought to you by Connect Dogs, your source for Canadian canine event information online. And first up, we have Society Canine de Quebec in Saint Isidore, and that is August 1st through the 3rd. The closing is July 16th, and that's 3 all breed shows, limited breed shows for 157, 4 obedience trials, and 5 rally obedience trials. And then we have Barrie Kennel Club, also the same weekend, August 2nd through the 4th, closing on July 18th. And that is 3 all breed shows, limited breed shows for 1, 3, and 7. And then also in Thornton, Ontario, which is with the Barrie Kennel Club, there is the Couvas Club of Canada National. and closes on the 18th as well. And the Irish Water Spaniel Club, the
National.
Association of
Yeah.
Canada, they're national too. And that's held with the Society Canine de Quebec show, and that also closes on July 16th. Also at the same show, the Miniature Schnauzer Club of Canada, a regional, closing on the 16th. And then out in Campbell River Dog Fancier Society on August 2nd to the 4th, out in Campbell River, BC. 3 all breed shows, limited breed shows for groups 1 and Ye Old Group 3, and 4 Rally Obedience Trials, and they close on July 16th as well. And then in Thornton, Ontario, which is also with the Barrie Kennel Club, we have the Northern Ontario Boxer Club, and that's on August 3rd, closes on the 18th of July. And then we have the following weekend, or I guess it's like an addition to the
Yeah,
Grey
it's
Bruce
part of that
Kennel.
circuit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Grey Bruce Kennel Club starting on the 5th, ending on the 7th of August. And it's 5 all breed shows and it closes on July 21st. And then we have out in Courtenay, BC, the Alberni Valley Kennel Club. And it's 3 all breed shows, 2 obedience trials, 2 rally obedience trials, and it closes on July 16th. And the following weekend, I believe it's the following weekend, it's the Edmonton Kennel Club, and that's on August 7th through the 10th. And that is 4 all breed shows, 3 obedience trials, 6 rally obedience trials, and that closes on July 15th, which is also next week. And there is the Great Dane Club of Canada at that show as well. And it's the national and regional specialty shows. There's an obedience trial with that, rally obedience trial for Great Danes, and that closes on July 15th as well. And the Finnish Lapland Club of Canada is also holding its national there on the 8th, closing on the 15th. And then the North Shore Dog Club, that's my club, starting on August 8th, going through August 10th. And the closing date is July 23rd. It's 5 all breed shows with cash prizes. Cash prizes.
Like
Anyway,
big cash prizes,
big cash prizes. Yeah, we're giving
like
over
a
almost
million
7,000.
dollars.
Not quite. There's only so much my clients
Oh yeah, I always
work
liked when
out.
Bob Whitney used to put lottery tickets in the prize and say, "And you have a chance to win $1 million."
$1 million. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that
That
Bob,
Bob,
he,
he's a thinker, that one. He's a
yeah, you have
thinker.
a chance to win $1 million. So you win a lottery ticket.
$1 million. Okay. So Kilbride and District Kennel Club, August 8th through the 11th in Caledonia, Ontario. And that closes July 28th. What's so special about July 28th, William?
Oh,
It's my birthday.
I don't know where it's. Oh, I knew that.
Anyway, so if you're
It doesn't
entering
say
Kilbride,
that here, so it's not real. As it says it here, I don't believe it. I'm
leave
Ron
it.
Burgundy, and you're not.
Yes. And they have 4 all breed shows and limited breed shows for groups 1, 3, 6, and 7. And then out to BC and Courtenay, BC, Glacier View Kennel Club. And that's from the 8th to the 10th. It closes on July 23rd, and they have 3 all breed shows. Oh, and also at my show, we have the Northwestern Ontario Working Dog Association, and that's on that'll be held on August 8th.
I really like
And
that idea. Was it the Quebec show that was doing the Ye Old Working Group? Was that West?
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's
no,
a great
that's
idea.
Quebec show. The old
Was it
working.
Quebec?
Yep.
I forget.
No, I
But
think it
it
was, yeah, I think it was Quebec.
I'm
And
gonna go
then
back and double
also
check.
at our show, if you
No, it
don't
was
want to look up
Campbell
the
River.
TV.
Campbell River,
Oh,
BC.
Campbell River.
Ye
Oh,
Old
okay.
Group 3. I think that's great.
Yes.
So it's gonna
And
take all
then
day, but I think that's great.
great. It's okay. Also at the North Shore Club, we are hosting the Alaska Malamute Club National. So Club of Canada National. And that also closes on July 23rd. And then in Caledonia, there's also the Working and Herding Club of Southern Ontario, closing on my birthday, July 28th. And that's held on August 9th. And that's a specialty show for both working and the herding groups. And then we have the big show in Manitoba, the Manitoba Canine Association
Oh, I
in
like
East
that
St.
show.
Paul.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good. You don't have a little PTSD from that show?
I do a little bit, but it's
A little bit.
memorable.
Oh, memorable. Yeah, so that show closes on July 23rd. It has 4 all breed shows, limited breed show for group 6, 2 obedience trials, and 6 rally obedience trials. And there is a bunch of associated specialties that go with that. And when I come to them, I'll just shout them out. And we also have the New Brunswick Kennel Club on August 15th through the 17th in St. John's, New Brunswick, closing on my birthday, July 28th, for all breed shows. And then back out to BC, we have West Kootenay Kennel Club in Castlegar, BC. Castlegar is a beautiful place. I've been to that show.
Oh, there's a lot of shows happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows. We're still scrolling. We're gonna have to like, okay, this is the last weekend we're talking about. Um, so they have 7 all breed shows out in Castlegar from August 15th through the 18th. 7. And that closes on July 30th. So St. Catharines and District Kennel Club, Kennel and Obedience Club from August 15th through the 17th, closing on July 30th. 3 all breed shows, limited breed shows for 3, 4, and 5. And then here's some of the associated specialties with the MCA show in Winnipeg. We have the Manitoba Working and Herding Dog Association, and then the River City Labrador Enthusiasts. The Irish Setter Club of Canada National is being held there. There's also the Prairie Toy Association, and there is the Red River Terrier Association, the Manitoba Hound Club. There's just so many. And then I missed something up. Oh, and then Tico Kennel Club in Spencerville, Ontario, starting on August 15th through the 17th, closing on the 30th. And that's 3 all breed shows, limited breed shows for groups 1, 2, and 6, 6 rally obedience trials also. And I have a fly. The Atlantic Labrador Retriever Club in St. John's, New Brunswick on August 16th, closing on my birthday, July 28th. And there's 2 specialty shows for Labrador Retrievers for that. So also in Spencerville, Ontario, that's with Tico, right? Was that with Tico? The Skipperky Club of Canada National and their regional. So they're having on the 16th and the 17th and closing on the
Right. That's
30th.
like because that was Joyce Bernhardt's club, and she passed away a few years back, and she was
Yeah.
very influential in Skipper Keys. So
Yeah,
that's
oh,
great.
for sure. For sure. Oh, we're
And
almost
Marnie
at the
Lang
end.
is out there. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also the Bulldog Club of Canada Regional is um August 16th in St. John, New Brunswick, closing on my birthday on the July 28th. It's a
Isn't it
regional
just so no one
specialty.
forgets your birthday, right? Just closing on my birthday, July 28th.
July 28th. Everyone will know. Also at MCA is the Chinese Crested Club of Canada National. And they also have a Manitoba Sporting Dog Association. And out in Castlegar with that show, there's the Golden Retriever Club of BC, regional specialty show for Goldens. Chihuahua Club of BC, there's also a specialty show for Chihuahuas. And those both
Guess
close
what?
on the 30th of July. That's the end.
That's the end.
That's the end.
That was
I need
getting
a drink.
dizzy. That was upcoming shows brought to you by Canuck Dogs, your source for Canadian canine event information online.
Online. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, reminders of
Um,
closing.
yes. We saw those. So next week, Wednesday, July 16th, we have Alberni Valley Kennel Club closing. Show secretary Lisa Tremblay. She also is the show secretary for Campbell River Dog Fanciers Society, and that closes also on the 16th. Edmonton Kennel Club closes on Tuesday, July 15th, and that show secretary is Kathy Cinnamon. Kathy, she's a very nice lady. And then nope, this one closes the day of the show. So our show when it comes out. So if you're listening before 6 o'clock, you
Closes
can get
today. You better make that phone call.
which reminds me, I need to get that my entries done. Show secretary is Bailey Reimer. Muskoka District Kennel Club closes on Monday, July 14th. MJN Show Services, Society Canine de Quebec, Pascal Pontos, July 16th closing date, and that is it. That's it. That's it. That was a lot. That's
It
too
was
much.
a lot. Good for you.
Okay.
Good for you.
Thanks. Thanks. I didn't even screw it up that bad.
No.
Oh. You know what I need is a cough button. You know how they have those in like real studios? I need a
Yeah,
cough
I
button.
do. Put your
I
hand over your
probably
thing.
just sound like those, sound like that cat. Yeah. Yeah.
My Bouvia, he has a Jurassic Park dry heave sometimes.
I'll tell you, a
Poor
dog
fuck.
barfing in the middle of the night though. Wakes you up just like
Oh yeah, for sure. So this week's topic, brought to us by
that.
Canadian Dog Fancier, a weekly summary of purebred dog events across North America. Our friend of the show, Sean Bennett, around the ring, or as Megan put, what grinds my gears. So last weekend at that, I think I'm not sure it was Kawarth or it was one of those string of shows that were attached
Mhm.
to the Norwood site. Um, some photos went around of a young lady showing her dog, and unfortunately, her skirt rose up as she was running, and this happens a lot to some ladies that aren't prepared
It
to.
does.
They're running, they don't know, and I know the people very well. They're wonderful people, they really are. And it was, it was unfortunate, and she kept pulling it down apparently, but somebody took pictures of it and posted it on Facebook. For
Like, what's the
what?
point?
Yeah.
So you can feel better about yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Why on earth would you do that? This is the
Yeah, there's no
nicest
need
family.
for
They've
that.
come to dog shows with their family. They have two boys. They come to shows all the time. They're the friendliest people you want to meet. They will help anybody, and somebody does that to them. That's really,
Just
come on, shape up out there. Give me a
it's
break.
just so not necessary. Like what was the like
No.
what was the point? What were you proving? What were you like why was there that needed to be brought to anyone's attention? I don't know who this person is, but I'm assuming that, like tell me that, especially as ladies, tell me that sometimes you've made a choice of costume which did
Yeah, an
not turn
error in
out to
judgment.
be,
Yeah, that
you're
looks
like,
great when they're just going out for dinner, and then you think, oh,
mm,
I have to run around the ring in this.
right? And I don't care. Like you can like we do the skirt test, right? Where we touch our toes and
Yeah.
check to see how short our skirts is. But not always
It
do you
squirts
realize
is.
skirts is where our skirts is.
Greg, it's okay, Greg. I'll fix her.
But shut up. But sometimes you don't realize when you're running in a skirt because dressing room lengths, dressing rooms are only so long
Yeah,
that your skirt
exactly.
could ride up. I remember there were numerous times when I worked for you, and especially if you wore a knit skirt, you'd walk by me and be like, your skirt's a turtleneck. I'd be like, oh, and like heaving it down. But you do that to me all the time. And then the thing is like, there's
So
no
funny.
point. It was funny. I thought it was funny too. I tell you to shut up. But there's no point in ridiculing
No,
someone else. And it's not like, are they dressing like this every single weekend? No, just
exactly.
unfortunately, this was, and you and I both know that she will probably never wear that skirt again. Not only for the fact that someone went and tried to publicly humiliate her, but knowing herself, she'd probably be like, this is not a good choice. Because I've got skirts in my closet that are like, no, you know, nope, can't wear
It's
that
just
one.
so unfortunate. Like,
You don't need to do
just
that.
be a normal person, and if you want to, go and like maybe tell them it's happening if you don't think she's noticed, but don't take pictures of it, post it on Facebook.
No.
Give your head a shake and give your hand a smack. For Christ's
Yep.
sake.
Yep. And
Oh,
someone knows when they constantly are adjust when they're constantly adjusting their skirt anyway. You know that they know that this isn't what they want to be wearing because
right.
if you're doing that in the ring, you know you're not giving your everything to showing your dog either. So why are you making more of a situation that does not need to be? Like
It's just
it just
unfortunate. I just wish people wouldn't.
yeah,
We have a hard enough time keeping people in this sport, let alone to have them do
exactly.
something like that to
Yeah.
someone. to like, and like I'm telling you, you haven't met them. They're the nicest family you want to meet.
I'm sure. And this is what
It's
usually
just
happens
it's
because they are nice.
unfortunate.
So whoever posted it, did you actually go over and say, do you need, do you have another skirt because you've got an issue here? Did you say something to their face? No, probably just went
Probably
and
not just
more.
pictures and posting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's
pictures and
always
posting.
exciting.
So, okay, we have to
Yeah,
get off this topic because I get
yeah,
angry
I know
about
it
that stuff.
gets me angry.
Arrgh! And
And
it makes me
unfortunately,
feel
I think we've got a bunch of angry topics here. And the next one is people who ridicule clubs and club members.
yep,
Unless you've been in their position and worked for a club and done the work, you have no place to ridicule. It's a
yep, zip it.
volunteer position, and these people are here for you to have a dog show.
Hmm.
And you can be constructive, but it depends how you approach them. It's
Yep,
conversation, not confrontation. Okay.
exactly.
But if
Yeah.
you think it's so easy, go start a club and do it yourselves and see how hard it is. Or just walk
Yeah.
around the show with the chairman badge on for a few hours and see what happens.
Exactly. Join
But
a club. Join a club to help. Join a club to help. It's all great that we can run around to all these different shows and go show and bitch and complain about, grooming spaces,
parking,
electric,
um,
parking, all this stuff, no concession, blah, blah, blah. Go around, join a club, and be a part of the solution, not compact on a problem.
exactly, I agree.
Yeah, what she
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tessie.
Yeah.
um,
That's funny.
Next one is, and this is unfortunate too, and you see this at dog shows. When I was younger, I played a lot of minor hockey. I wasn't very good, but I played a
I
lot of
just
minor.
no, no. I heard that you were quite good. Well, maybe that was
My
your dad saying that to
my
me,
dad
but
telling me that. Yeah.
he did.
I had moments, I guess, where I wasn't, horrific, and they don't want to pull me. I was a
Dave thought
goaltender.
you could make it. Dave thought you could make it.
I thought I could make it. And I
You
still think I
did.
can make it.
Oh,
I'm
Will
waiting for that
Alexander
call.
between the pipes.
Me and Johnny Bauer. No one knew how old Johnny Bauer was. Oh well.
Okay,
Anyway,
anyway,
we're talking
carry
about people
on.
that most of the audience don't know who they are. Anyway, we had when you played minor hockey, they have what you call hockey parents. And I remember I'd be in the dressing room, and this is like for Kiwi and Bantam, that level. Um, Not so much midget, but I was lucky because my dad was the coach a lot of times, or assistant coach, or on the coaching staff, so he was always in the dressing room. And then my dad was always very positive. He never pushed to do anything. He was always good.
Yep.
Um, but you'd sit there and listen to other parents, and they'd be like almost ridiculing their kids for not getting a goal that game, or not getting, like, I remember we had this one player on our team. I won't say his name just in case, you never know. um, he used to score 3 and 4 goals a game. Like, he was incredible. And I thought, I played hockey with him all the way up to midget. I thought there's no way this kid is making it, because he is going to make it, because he dominated every level of hockey so far. But his dad was always on him, pushing him, pushing him, pushing him, pushing. My guess is that he pushed him so hard that he said, once he got free will, he was like, bye bye, I'm not playing hockey anymore.
Yep.
I'm going to go off and be a
And that's
dog
what
groomer.
happens.
Could be a dog groomer, Dad, instead of a National Hockey League player. Nothing wrong with dog groomers. I think dog groomers are great, but it's a
Exactly.
contrast.
Yes.
Um, but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, we I'm seeing that now at dog shows. I see parents
Yeah.
pushing kids to show dogs in the all breed ring
Yeah.
as as pros before they're ready.
Yeah.
And
It's not it's not what you should do. It's just
no,
not.
and there back when I was a junior, there was a rule. I'm sure there was a rule because I got nailed on it at least once, where you weren't allowed to accept money for showing a dog while you were
Mhm.
competing in junior handling.
Yeah.
And I remember being on the Sportsman's Dog Show when I was about 11 or 12. So I was in the middle of junior handling, and that's a 7 day show back then, 5 to 7 days.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of junior handling points to be got there, so well,
right?
I had a friend of mine in the States, a friend of the family. He had a flat coat retriever. Vernon Vogel was his name. Great guy. He always helped kids with dogs and whatnot. He asked me to show his dog in the all breed a couple days, which I was
Right.
thrilled because it was amazing. I know you get to show this
Yep.
beautiful dog. And at the end of the third or fourth day, he gave me some money, but it wasn't payment, but it was like, here, you're doing a great
Yeah.
job. Go buy yourself
It's like
something
a
nice, and
tip. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I took it right. As I took it, a mother of another junior handler was watching.
Yeah.
Well, that mother turned me in, and I didn't get to compete the rest of the circuit, rest of the shows because I
Yes.
accepted money. There's a dog in our window there. Anyway, I guess it's the dog show drive, so that's okay. But she's wrecking your lighting.
I know. She's
um,
obsessed with looking out the windows. Fanny, either sit down or
I know. So
yeah.
we were gonna get Megan to see if there was a rule. Is there still a
She
rule?
said she said there was because she is the representative for our zone. And she
Yeah.
said there is a rule that juniors are not allowed to be paid to show dogs.
Now, what
So
if what if they're being subcontracted by their parents and their parents are getting paid?
wow.
That's an interesting
Do
one,
we
isn't it?
do we need to go into that? That's a lot of thinking for
That is
us.
a lot, but I
It's
see this
true.
happening, and I see
Yeah.
some youngsters showing dogs, and you can tell that they're not ready to show certain breeds and certain
Yeah.
levels, but they're thrown in there, and they're
Yeah.
they're not their dogs. They're not they're somebody else's dogs.
Well, I'm not
So,
gonna lie. I made the girls show like my Irish setter client. I mean, she was fine with it because the girls owned some of the dogs because they showed in juniors in the States. But I
so
mean,
you
they showed
subcontracted out your kids.
it. If you ask either one of them, they've always been child labor. But the thing is I I have an issue with when a junior handler is, basically hanging out their shingle as a professional handler. I'm sorry, I don't believe you can be a professional handler when you can't drive to the show by yourself. Like I have an issue with
Yeah.
it. I don't believe that you have garnered enough knowledge, to care for animals. And I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just saying there's a lot of situations
Well, and
and
there's a
as
difference. Like with you, you were the head of the
yeah,
family in the dog shows.
yeah,
So it was a dog showing family where you were a
right.
professional. And so
Yep.
there are instances of that. Like
I
there's a lot of
agree.
instances, and that's understandable. I understand that. It's where I see a child I know has done really well in juniors. I don't know their parents at all, really, but then I see them thrown into the all breed ring, showing these dogs for other people, and you don't really know what's going on, but you can tell they feel out of their element. It's almost like they've been not forced to do it, but here, do this, and before they're ready to do it.
Yeah.
It's like if my
And I'm
dad,
sorry, as
when I was coaching midget hockey, said, "Okay, Dad, well, you're going to be thrown into juvenile next week." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not." You know.
yeah. Well, and as a parent, I don't want that amount of responsibility on my child that if there were to be an incident or an accident, I don't
Right.
want my child having to bear all of that because they're not prepared. Like, 16, 17 years old, you're not prepared for a lot of that stuff. And dog show people, and if you are taking someone's dog to a dog show, that is their pet still. And people get crazy. So if something happens, I don't want my kid having to bear the brunt of that responsibility. Like I just
Right.
find
Yeah.
it's just not yet, when they're 19, 20 and they've been doing this for, since they were a PV handler. I get it, but not not in the raging hormonal stages.
And like your daughters all work for handlers. They work with
Yes.
you. So it's not like that's. I think there's extenuating circumstances to all these things,
For
of
sure
course.
there is. For sure there
Um,
is. But in the same breath, there are times, Faith would want to go to a show or whatever. And I'd be, well, who are you going with? I didn't want her going by herself because I don't want, you know, I wanted someone else there of a more mature stage that I knew both my kid and those dogs would all be safe.
And it's a tough one to because there are extenuating circumstances.
Yep.
But it just worries me because you watch where the profession is going. Because like
Yeah.
we would like I myself as an assistant, I remember what I had to go through. You as an assistant, what you had to go through. Adam, Jenny McClintock, they all
Yep.
worked their butts off to
Right.
be a professional handler, to learn the
Yes.
ropes of being a professional handler. So,
Yep. I agree. I agree. And it's just
like
I
it's
find that
almost not
not enough.
fair when you think about it,
No.
where you think someone put the time in to learn their craft, and then somebody else is just being paid because they're a ring jockey and they look pretty good in the ring and they can
Yeah.
point the dog in the right direction, and but there's no that's like I'm trying to think of a profession that
Yeah.
you don't
There's not a lot that are the same. Like,
right.
eh,
You can't just
I'm a
you
this
just can't
now.
walk up the street in a white jacket and say I'm a doctor today because I look like
Yeah.
a
I'm a
doctor.
dentist. I'm a drill. I'm a
Open
dentist.
wide. I
Exactly.
saw my friend do it once, so I can do it. And yeah, that was a
Fly.
fly. Oh, Jesus.
Being out at camp. What happens when you're at camp? You got flies and bugs
Yeah.
everywhere.
You're at the red
So
green camp, right?
yes, I am. Yes. It's a touch rustic, but it has electricity and television, so I don't really care.
And Wi-Fi. Here
And
we are.
Wi-Fi. Yep. I
Yeah.
have my Wi-Fi. It's all good. So
And so there was some more posts this week on Facebook about the complaints with the size of the shows and blah blah blah. Even though the shows they're saying the shows are getting smaller, but you look at the best in show lineup. It's all the same dogs. Why do people
yeah.
want to come if all the same dogs are going to win? Blah blah blah. Zeba zeba zeba. Well,
Yeah.
that happens even when there's 1,000 dogs. It
The
depends on the
dogs. Yep.
dogs competing, but some dogs just step up and it's not just the dogs, it's the people. It's
Yep.
you yourself know there is a commitment involved here to if you want to play at a certain level, you have to be committed. And not
Yes.
everybody's committed. Like I know
No.
somebody like I was looking at the best in show lineup when that post came across. And there were dogs in there that I know the people quite well because a lot of them into my class.
Mhm.
I know the people.
Yep.
And here's this person saying, well, it's always the same dogs. Well, I know one person in that best show lineup is up every morning at 6 a.m. to jog their dog. Every
Yep.
morning,
Yep.
you know.
Rain, shine, snow, doesn't matter.
Right.
Yep.
That's a commitment. Maybe
Yep.
committed, but it's a commitment.
Because we know the breed. Yeah,
But
it's true though. And a lot of and I don't and I'm not discount like I understand how it is discouraging, but in the same breath, you have to put the work in. And the people that are in the best in show ring or winning the groups or placing in the groups on a consistent
consistently,
basis are consistently working on their handling abilities, their grooming, their conditioning of their dog. It is there is a payoff. And you and
yeah,
I both know a lot of owner handlers, a lot of breeder owner handlers that when, and we've said this how many times, the worst thing that for a handler, for us to see at ringside is one of them breeder owner handlers show up because we
that
know
are
they're
really
there
good,
for a reason too,
Yeah.
right? They
Well, and
know they,
they're committed. They're committed to their breed, so
yes,
they're not going to walk in the ring with something they're not proud of. We're hoping, but like
exactly.
the lineup, I hate. There's nothing against our professional handlers, but if you look at our best in
No,
show lineup now, it's a lot breeder owner handled now. Like
yeah,
they have stepped up, and like the one person I was saying that's up at 6 a.m. They're a breeder owner handler. They have been to my handling class. They've won hundreds of best in shows, they still come to my handling class.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Because they
still,
know there's still work to always be done.
right.
Always work to be done.
And you
And
have to
that's
like there's a huge commitment
mhm,
and when you watch out like you'll for example, I was judging at Westminster. I won't say which breed I'm referring to, but there was a dog in the ring that I had done for before, and I really liked them. And I knew that they hadn't put the work in because last time I judged the dog, it felt different. It felt harder. The trim felt like it'd been in there longer. It was you could tell that it was in condition to win that day. And I know they were
yeah,
disappointed when they didn't win that day because the competition, there's such a great level of competition of those type of shows that a lot of
yeah,
dogs can win on that day. But I don't want to say it was a lack of commitment. I found out later on the dog went away for a while and they brought it back and but that's still a lack of commitment on whoever had the dog. If they knew that
yeah,
the end goal was to show it in New York, they should have kept it up. Should have kept it up so that whoever was showing it in New York got to have their dog back, in the shape they sent it home.
yeah, yeah.
That's
It's so
I
true.
don't want to say a lack of commitment, but it's you want to
Yeah,
if you're going to keep showing like that, you've got to be committed. I remember
yep.
I used to have end goals on my
Consistency.
calendar, and that's where
Yep,
I would point to.
consistency.
I got to
Yep,
point. Okay, I want Jezreel looking his very best by February for New York City, and
yep.
we would
So
work
get running,
until
Yvonne. Get
get out
running.
there and run, Yvonne, and don't forget to wash his pee hair.
Well, that's what it was, right? Like that
Yep,
was our goal.
yeah. So
So
you
yeah,
have to stay committed. And I
yeah,
know, and it's so easy to say, oh, they always win because they're this, or because they're friendly, or because of this. No, it's not
yeah,
because there's so many different characters in the dog show that that are the same as what you're describing that aren't winning, that have been
yeah,
there forever. Everybody knows them. It's
yeah,
commitment to their dog that they're showing. And their
yeah,
dogs are never like if you look at that best in show lineup, they're all quality dogs. And they're all in condition to work in that heat. They're all in condition to keep going.
yeah,
That shows commitment on those handlers, owner handlers, whoever's got that dog. It shows that they've put the time in and they want to be successful. So
exactly.
if you want to
Yeah.
be successful, you
Work.
can have the most beautiful dog in the world. If you don't put the time in, that dog is not going to win what it deserves.
And I
It may
remember
win a
reading,
little bit.
yeah, I read somewhere too, it's, like judges judge on handling and blah, blah, blah. You know what? They don't judge on handling, but if your dog is not being shown to the utmost, your dog, like it's
Do
hard for
its
judges.
best. Right.
You're right. It's hard for judges. You've got a beautiful puppy, and all it's doing
Right.
is bunny hopping around the ring because you haven't taken the time to lead break it. What do you want that judge to do? What do you
Yeah.
want that judge to do?
People forget the judge has 2 minutes. 2 minutes to look at your dog. If
Yeah.
your dog is not even somewhat controlled for those 2 minutes, how do you expect to win?
Yeah.
And well, they should look through that and see just the dog. No,
No, no, they
it's
shouldn't
all a
have
team.
to.
It's no,
Yes.
it's all teamwork, and you need to put the work in. And especially if you think your dog is worth it, you think your dog is that good that you're complaining about dogs beating your dog. Put the work in and get your dog to that level.
Yeah.
Don't be the reason your dog loses.
Yep. And that's what
And
most
I
people
hate being
don't.
blunt like that, but that's what I taught at my seminars. I say that. Do not be the
Hmm.
reason your dog loses.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah. So that's what grinds our gears.
that's what does it.
Grinds our gears.
And that was brought to it. No, that was brought to us by Canadian Dog
Canadian.
Fancier Magazine, your weekly summary of purebred dog events across North America. Back
Ba,
to
ba,
you, Yvonne.
ba. So now for our regularly scheduled programming. Our question of the week, which is brought to you by ProPlan, fuel the champion in your dog. So last week's question was, what measures can dog clubs take to accommodate exhibitors and their dogs during extremely hot weather at outdoor shows?
And
And
before
this
we get
got
going, I just want to mention something before we get going because I got a really great note last night from Ian Russmillan from
oh, that's right, you
Australia,
did. Mhm.
and he sent me a bunch of paperwork on what their state in Queensland approves you're allowed to there's a certain degree that you're not allowed to have exhibitions anymore.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
law there. He sent me those
Mhm.
forms. Unfortunately, he sent them to me on my phone, and
You're old and
I
you
have to
can't
get
see
them
it.
printed off for next week so I can read them. Sorry, Ian. I know you're listening probably. Isn't it great that we have a listener? We have listeners in Australia as well, though.
I know. Look at us
Yeah,
reaching
yeah. Ian's a
worldwide.
great guy.
We're like
Ian,
Prestige International.
Prestige worldwide. But Ian, I don't know if you guys all know Ian was I think he's an all-breed judge, and he was an excellent handler. I remember seeing him show Salukis and whatnot. He was great. So it was great. He told me how much he enjoyed the podcast, and
Oh, that's nice. Thank you,
he
Ian.
had these he had these notes for us, and unfortunately they're on my phone, but I did send them to Yvonne, so we'll get them printed off next week so we can
Yeah,
read them.
we can
All
read them.
right, carry on with this week's. Do we want to go
All
on to
right.
questions or oh yeah, we're gonna go into the responses, aren't we, before we go on to the
Yeah.
next part? Yeah.
Yeah. Then there was, oh, yeah. So we're going to do the responses you said first.
Or
Is
do you
there an
want to
echo
go
in here?
into do you want to talk about I don't know if we want to talk about that yet. Let's talk about the responses
Well,
first.
let's do the responses first. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, now we all know, we all know about, we discussed trying to keep the dogs cool. So here were some of the suggestions or things that people, were hit hard on. So the first one is consider evening shows.
Which
That
is a good idea because there's a lot of shows in Europe that do that for the heat.
Yes, that's what we were discussing that before, that a lot of shows in Europe are now their evening type shows. So
Yeah,
that would be, I think, and I honestly think that's something that are going to have to start looking at with the temperatures increasing all the time. I think
yeah,
that's maybe the only way to go, or we're going to just, we're going to have to go back inside. And
yeah.
because I know
Most
like
clubs can't afford that. You might have to invest in
yes,
some lights.
yes, but in like, for
Big
example, I know
lights. Where we can get those
in
lights?
Texas,
Batman? Sorry.
the bat signal. Um, but I know, like for example, in Texas, there's in the summer they're all inside, and in
Yeah.
the what we consider winter, that's when they are actually outside, which was really weird as a Canadian that lived in Texas for about a year. Oh, it was very weird, but it worked out way better. Um, our good friend Leanne McIver, friend of the show, she was do the dogs most affected first thing, but you don't have to do the entire group. Start with the brachy ones, then put up brachy meaning brachiocephalic breeds, the squish nose, then put another group in between, then finish the balance of the group. We do not have to do an entire group at the same time. The US shows don't. And that's true. I mean, it is more work for our show secretaries, but at
Yeah.
this point,
You've got an entry
safety,
of 20 bulldogs. At least you're
yeah,
weeding
eight
it down
o'clock in
to
the
one
morning.
that's going to be shown in the group. So,
Yeah, 8 o'clock in the morning is a good time for them. And you know, a lot of people talked about larger shaded areas, more tenting, more tents,
yeah, Becky Carr
and
provide a larger shaded
mm,
waiting area in view of the ring for people waiting for their ring time, which is a good idea as well. And I think a lot of shows try to do that.
they
I
do.
think they just underestimate sometimes how many people want to be there. And we also have issue of people wanting to put their chairs under the shade and taking up the room. And
Well, and the other thing about like the larger tents, they're not cheap to put up. Like that's a
no,
big
they're not.
cost. That's a big cost on a club. I know for my club, that's almost one of our largest costs is the renting of those larger, like I call them the circus type tents. Those are expensive, for a weekend. And it's not like a club. It's hard for a club to purchase a tent like that because first of all, half the battle is who's going to put that sucker up. As a club member, remember, I'm not. And
Well,
those
they
guys
usually have a
are
team that comes that puts them up. Yeah.
exactly who's insured, who know what they're doing, and
Yeah.
case closed. So Fanny's got a match, don't I?
So yeah, like the tent companies usually have a team, but they're well insured. They know exactly how to do it, and they know how to
Yeah.
reinforce them for storms and whatnot. So
Exactly. So
yeah,
I do agree more tenting is a wonderful idea, but you like but this is the part of, with all of this comes costs. And so is it the club that has to endure the brunt of these costs? Or maybe as exhibitors, we should start thinking about, pooling some of our resources. If we know that it's really dog just tried to bite me. He was eating a fly. Um, Pooling some of our resources and like helping the club out. Like, I've got how I don't know how many other pop-up tents in my garage. I can drag a few extra ones to a dog show and like
right.
here, put them up for the
And we've
day.
had
And
instances of that. We've had where handlers or and owners have had, oh, I have an extra pop up, and they've brought it to ringside for people.
yeah, exactly.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Dog shows with Jenny and Natalie wrote, shows should start at 8 a.m. to get over as soon as possible. Dragging out a 200 dog show is not easy either. Maybe one more judge needs to be hired to get that day completed in a more efficient manner. That's fine to say, but it's also costly for the club. Another
Yep.
judge. Um,
And then we were running into the on some of the other questions about the recycling of judges and blah blah
right.
blah.
And there's only so many judges out there, and a lot of them are booked, so they people
Yeah.
get what they can get sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
I think that 8 a.m. start is probably a good idea for most summer shows because it is cooler at 8 a.m. So if they can do something like that,
Exactly. Ian Lynch, perhaps clubs should make a decision a day prior when they receive heat warnings to move the show up by a few hours, although it means earlier wake up and arrival times, as well as possibly fast rescheduling of group and breed judging. If the majority of judging would be done by, say, 11 a.m., we could still have a show without as much risk to the dogs. And,
yeah,
that's,
and that's a warranted idea. I think it's a lot would be hard to make happen. We all
yeah,
know that the weatherman is not
that
100% all the
accurate.
time.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know what the answer is. I think 8 a.m. starts across the board would be a good idea, just especially in the summer months, just
Yeah.
to get them over with and get them
Yeah.
a majority of the dogs shown before it gets too hot. So
Yeah. Pat Keenan Fernandez, cancel dog shows outdoors when temps are 100 degrees or 100 or more degrees. People continue to risk dogs and themselves for points in extreme heat. And it's true. People
it's
will,
true, but like
but
to say the show was canceled is there going to be like at Vicky's desk? Are we going to have a thermometer or a temperature gauge there and
yeah,
go, oh, it's canceled. Look at or
yeah,
and I think the onus has to if the onus has to go on the owner, handler, breeder, whoever's exhibiting that dog that day to go to say to themselves, I think it's too hot. I think it's too hot to
yeah,
show Fanny today, so I'm not going to show Fanny today, and she's going to go
yeah,
fishing at the camp. So
exactly. She likes that.
exactly.
Yeah. Also for show sites, and this is something else, Paula Miles Roche, make sure electrical campsites work. Our like at the last show she was at, ours didn't. Hot and very humid, have little pools in the shade for dogs to cool off. And that's something like maybe show clubs, we were talking about this, like make sure that your grounds are capable. And we all know that there's a limit to how much electricity you can put in your get for your trailers. And now with the way the trailers are being made, they are exceeding far exceeding the electrical capabilities
The
of what are
efficiency. They are
yeah,
efficient. Yeah.
yeah, for the
I think again
campgrounds.
the onus falls on the handler, the owners. Bring a
Yeah,
generator. Bring a little
yep.
Honda 2000-watt generator. They never die. They're easy to maintain. And I know it's
That
another
was
expense.
Honda generators.
Yeah, Honda generators
Honda
never
generators.
die. Buy a
Die.
Honda. just in case
throw
they're
one,
listening.
throw one out the back of your cars and bounce down.
But
Anyway,
I
we
like
digress.
I know it's not everybody has a generator, but you can
Yep,
find them on Kijiji. You can find
you
them
can.
used. Yeah,
They're not as expensive as they used to be,
no. And if you're gonna
and I
show dogs in the summer, I think it's essential that you have that
it
backup
is a
power.
must
Yeah.
have nowadays for sure.
Because power can
Um,
go out at dog shows too. I've been to shows where the whole park has gone out because it's overloaded,
yep,
you know.
yep,
So have
and
your
down
own
in
power source. So I
yeah,
know, yeah, and I know it's another expense, but it's small compared to the alternative. So
yeah, exactly. Dr. McIntyre, one would hope common sense would prevail in extreme conditions and cancel for the welfare of the dogs and everyone else.
well, one
It's
would hope,
true.
but again, it's a tough call on some clubs.
Yeah,
Who's going to
yeah,
make the call? And I think, like in America, the field rep would make the call. The field rep would say, "No, this is unsafe. We're
yeah,
canceling this event," and then that's just the way it
yeah,
goes.
yeah. Carol Hufnagel, she says the cost of holding an indoor show is much more than most clubs could afford. There are very few indoor venues that allow dog shows, and this is the other battle we're going through, right? Maybe
Right.
CKC should look at purchasing or leasing a facility that all clubs could use and pay a CKC a rental fee for their show.
That'd be a wonderful idea. Is it
It's a
realistic? I don't
wonderful
know. I don't know.
idea. Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
wonderful idea.
Yeah,
So yeah.
but
Anyway, I
yes,
think we need to move on, Yvonne.
we do, because
So
we
that
could
was
have
question
chat.
of the week.
That was question of the week. And
Do
so
you, oh,
now,
well, we have this week's question is, do you want to read it? Go
yes,
ahead.
sure. We know too many shows is a problem in Canada. So we were been discussing this about,
Yeah.
entries,
Well,
et
we
cetera,
all
et
know the
cetera.
problem. We all know there's a
We all
problem.
know the problem. So, what are some realistic solutions to fix it? So, what we're asking of our listeners is to submit really viable answers of what you think would be a solution to this issue. So let's discuss. Let's discuss.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
it'll be interesting to see what people come up with because this is a very smart fancy. So I'm hoping that they come
Hmm.
up with ideas that
Yeah.
who knows where they go,
Who
who
knows?
knows who's listening.
So, so the question of the week is powered by Plan. Fuel the champion in your dog. And then we just have one other thing to cover.
Yeah, that's a sad one.
Yeah.
The world of dogs lost a wonderful gentleman, a wonderful judge, a great handler in his day, Brian Mayer.
Yep.
The community mourns the loss of longtime professional handler and revered AKC judge Brian Mayer, whose life in dogs began quite literally at birth. His parents, Lorraine and the late Kenneth Mayer, were respected boxer breeders in Rockford, Illinois. Brian stepped into the ring at age 9 and never looked back. He worked for some legendary handlers. He showed dogs professionally for 31 years. He hung up his armband in 1999. He was to embark on a new chapter as judge approved for the hound, working in terrier, toy, non-sporting, and herding groups, as well as numerous individual breeds. He was a very good judge. You always got a honest answer from Brian, and he was always happy. He was always smiling. I don't think I ever did
Yeah.
not saw Brian smiling. It
Yeah.
was it was a great loss to us, and my heart goes out to his wife and to his daughter Lynn, and I feel the
Son
sport
Kent.
lost a true iconic member of our sport. So
Yeah.
very sad.
Yes. Um, yeah. So that's our
Well, I,
episode,
I think
right?
we have
Or do we
we've
want
gone over a little bit, but I think that's a sad note to end on. So let's
we
go
don't want to do
into
that.
a quick Canadian touch of the show. Things
Woo!
invented by Canadians. I'll do pop
Woo!
culture. You do the next one.
Yeah, I know
Pop
you wanted that.
culture. Superman. He was co-created by Canadian artist Joe Shuster with American writer Jerry Siegel. And if you watched, he worked for the Toronto Star at one point, I believe. Joe Schuster did. So the Daily Planet is based on the Toronto
The
Star.
Toronto Star. Yes.
Yeah.
If you ever watch the Canadian vignettes, it's and he had a wasn't it isn't it like his cousin Lois? I think
I'm
on
not,
the
I can't
Canadian
remember.
yeah, on the Canadian vignette, I think it's his cousin Lois. Oh, you crazy kids. Yeah. And so that's where I think Lois comes into play into the cartoon. Well,
And
it
the
was a
city was
cartoon.
based on Toronto. So
Yes, yes. So
that's
everyday items that Canadians have invented, the zipper, the Gideon Sunbeck, Swedish Canadian engineer, the paint roller, created by Norman Brakey, garbage bags.
yeah.
Can you believe that? We created garbage bags.
Where are we gonna put all
By,
this stuff? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Throw it in the garbage bag. But if you think about it, the garbage bag is not just for garbage. How many times have you have thrown laundry in a
Have you
garbage bag?
worn one?
You've worn a garbage bag, exactly. It is a multiple use item. The electric wheelchair by George Klein.
That's
Uh,
excellent invention.
the the pager, Alfred G. Gross, and IMAX. IMAX was invented by Canadians.
How about them
Graham Fergus,
apples?
yeah, Roman. I can't even say that last name. Robert Kerr
Reuter,
and
Robert Kerr, and William Shaw.
William Shaw.
And
Yes.
food and drink. Don't forget
Well, that's
the butter tart.
the butter
If you've
tart.
never had a butter tart, if anybody from out of Canada listening, if you've never had a butter tart, you have no idea what you're missing. Have a
My
butter
dad
tart.
loved those. Sean
Uniquely
Nichols.
Canadian,
Sean Nichols makes a pretty mean butter tart, let me
does
tell
he?
you.
Oh. And
Oh
then
yeah, really good.
there's obviously
Poutine.
poutine, or
Mm-hmm.
poutine, however you want to say it.
Poutine. Poutine.
Yeah, poutine.
Yes.
Um,
The Caesar
the Caesar
cocktail.
cocktail, our
Yes, our
take on
version. The
the Virgin
Mary.
Mary, yeah, Bloody Mary,
Yeah.
our take on the Bloody Mary, yeah, yeah.
The Virgin Mary.
No, no, don't. Instant
Oh, is it? Was
mashed
it?
potatoes. Who could live
Yeah.
without instant mashed potatoes?
So gross.
But one of my
Uh,
favorites is the next one.
really? I didn't know that.
I
I would
love
enjoy it
Hawaiian
too.
pizza.
Me
But I
too.
get mine with the meat lovers with pineapple. So it's a tip twist on it.
Oh,
But
yeah, there you go. Because it's not just about ham. Yes. I
no,
like all that's cool. Yeah. I love and I don't care if pineapple's not supposed to be on pizza. What then don't eat it. Go
exactly. Don't
away.
complain about it and don't eat it.
Some medical and health innovations. Insulin for
We all knew
diabetes
that.
treatment. Yeah.
Ludwig Banting,
The
yep. Charles Best knew
the
that. Yeah, yeah.
the pacemaker by John Hops. The Ebola vaccine.
The Ebola vaccine. I didn't know
Mhm.
that. How about them
Right.
apples?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then cancer treatment, the cobalt 60 radiation therapy. Harold Johns. He
Wow.
invented that. That's crazy.
And then in science and tech, we have what everybody has now, the
Hmm.
telephone.
Yeah.
Alexander Graham Bell.
He
Hello.
invented.
Hello.
Hello. Did you ever see that episode of Big Bang where Sheldon said that Alexander Graham Bell was going to he wanted to answer the phone with ahoy?
I don't think so.
It was funny. I laughed because I should answer the phone like that anytime you call me. Ahoy. And so
And the
anyhow, go
Java
on.
programming language
Programming
was
language,
invented by
yes.
James
James
Gosling.
Gosling.
The
And then
walkie-talkie.
those were
How about
so
them?
cool.
Donald
Yeah.
Hings with the walkie-talkie. Of
Yeah.
course, we had the snowmobile, Joseph
Snowmobile.
Armand
Bomba-
Bombardier. They still have
Bombardier.
bombardiers. You can still get bombardiers.
Bombardier. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the
And then,
robotic arm on the International Space Station, the Canada arm.
yep,
MDA, Canada Tech Company, created it. So that was pretty cool. Yes. What else do we have here? The ice hockey.
the
Oh, and
mask.
sports. The goalie
Yep.
mask, the Jacques Plante, famous
Jacques Plante, he
Montreal,
developed the
famous
goalie
Montreal
mask. He was from
Canadian.
Quebec.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
And
there's
then
James
basket.
Naismith
Yep.
at
Basketball.
Almont, Ontario, basketball.
Yep. And five
I didn't
pin
know
bowling.
five pin bowling. I didn't know that one.
I did because I remember going to America once and they said, "You want to go bowling?" I was like, "Sure." And I was like, "Don't you guys have five pin?" And they were like, "No, what's five pin?" I'm like, "Yeah." So Then that was invented by Thomas F. Ryan. And then we have, um, it used to be our national sport, and I don't think it is anymore. I think hockey
Not
bumped
sure.
it. It used to be though, and that's
Yeah,
lacrosse.
yeah. As a modern organized sport, because it was actually a um,
Wasn't it
native
indigenous? Yeah, yeah, an
indigenous sport.
indigenous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
You were quite the lacrosse player back in the day, weren't you?
I sure was.
You were. One time you have to tell the story of the Miracle Whip. There were these kids
They
that
were
said,
my defensemen in hockey as well, the Miracle Brothers.
"Oh, were they?"
Yes, because
That's
we
too
played.
funny.
I went to the same high school, Daryl and Richard Miracle. I wonder if they're listening. But they were on
Hi guys.
defense. They were defense. I was a goaltender in hockey, not a goaltender in lacrosse. I was a midfieldman in lacrosse. But in hockey, they were my defense. Richard and Daryl. And I used to call them the Miracle Whip because you didn't want to go by them because they would take you down. But the same thing
You're
in
like the
lacrosse.
Hanson brothers.
Yeah, pretty close. Same thing in lacrosse, and they were so talented. And Richard, it was Richard, I think was the stockier one. He was like you could if he hit you, you went down. He was I was taller than Richard, and but he was so stocky, and I mean stocky. He wasn't porky. He was stocky, and when he
Cocky.
hit somebody, like
They
he
felt
hit
it for weeks.
Yep, and I felt pretty safe with them as my defense.
Yep.
So, and the next
Oh,
communications and innovations, the standard time zones were developed by Sir Sanford Fleming. I was not aware of that.
I heard that that's actually was like it originated here in Thunder Bay.
Oh, Sir Sanford Fleming
No,
and
I'm
Thunder Bay.
whatever. I'm gonna get a whole bunch of Thunder Bay things, and you'll be shocked.
Radio voice transmission was Reginald Fessenden.
Hesh,
Fessenden. Early
Hessenden,
radio pioneer.
early.
Yeah. So
There you
I
go.
think we've overstayed our welcome.
Yes, we have now.
Anyway,
That's it, folks.
that's it.
All right.
Uh, Take us out of here. Why?
All right. So, anyone driving to a show this weekend, stay cool and seatbelts on, glasses on. Stay safe, everyone. Till next week.
Head Over Heels, written by Jim Cuddy and Greg Keeler, and performed by Blue Rodeo. Is that long enough, Doc?
Yeah, really.